Stop Hibari-Kun is unintentionally the most progressive, empowering work of trans fiction in the 80s, while also simultaneously being aggressively outdated and debatably very problematic. Yet I have a confession, lovely audience. I adore this manga and anime, so I'm gonna talk about it. Stop Hibari-Kun was released in 1981. Yeah, like literally 1 year after Pac-Man. Yeah, that Pac-Man. If you wanted an inspiring role model as a trans woman back then, especially in Japan, you were low-key out of luck. However, imagine a romantic comedy shows up and a character who's assigned male at birth has so much drip and looks so fashionable and cute and fun that it inspires the J-pop industry's fashion and is the reason manga and anime characters are frequently drawn in street styles like this. See Bridget here in a streetwear collab? You can thank Hibari for that one. Hibari states very openly she views herself as a woman, corrects people when misgendered, dresses in femme clothing because she likes it, and goes to school as a girl because she can. Anyone that disagrees with her, oh god.
This was the 80s, man.
She's literally the first openly LGBT character to appear in Shonen Jump. Especially the first trans character by a long shot. This makes her so dang cool. This video is more focused on Hibari's impact on trans people rather than whether Hibari herself is transgender. However, for the sake of clarity, I will use she, her to refer to her just because she says multiple times that she likes being referred to as a girl. I'm just gonna roll with it. Hibari is presented as confident, powerful, and self-advocating. What that means is in the face of bigotry, no one can get under her skin. If someone tries to mess with her too much, she ends up...
The 80s was a wild place.
She goes to school as a girl. No one outside her family knows that she's assigned male at birth. Her family's not accepting, except the younger sister, because I guess younger generations will always be the most progressive, even back then. All the boys want to date her, all the girls want to be her, and she seems happy living her best life as herself, and it's so cool. Due to the nature of it being a very silly comedy anime, nothing can really stop Hibari-Kun, right? It's the title, right? No one can. Every episode there's a type of conflict that Hibari must face, and every time she always wins. Like, it's some Tom and Jerry logic, she doesn't lose! There's a notable episode where she gets one of her sisters to dress like her so that she doesn't get her secret exposed at a physical examination at school where she would have to like reveal her- wait.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
It's important to understand this is a romantic comedy, so thus there's romance, but there's also comedy, right? The manga is created as a subversion of romantic comedies. Hibari being assigned male at birth but presenting femme, that's well, the gimmick. But despite that, Hibari herself is a very well-written character within the context of a gag manga. And the art's a little too good for a gag manga if you ask me. The author did everything he could to make Hibari as attractive as possible to commit to this gimmick. The whole point is how impossibly perfect Hibari performs femininity, so hence why she is dripped out. Oh my god. The manga author Eguchi, being very knowledgeable on fashion, is a big thing he's famous for. All his work always portray women with really cool outfits. Now we get to talk about the Yakuza. Hibari-Kun's subversion of gender is actually really interesting. Hibari is the daughter of a Yakuza boss, like, not metaphorically. That's literally the premise. She's literally the daughter of the Yakuza boss, right? The whole manga and anime take place within a Yakuza household, right? She's actually the one in line to take over the Yakuza business, right? They play around a lot with the contrast of Hibari being very girly, soft, that kind of thing, but willing to be very aggressive and scary when necessary. This gap's a fun subversion of gender roles and expectations, which gives Hibari a really fun contrast, helping her stand out from literally any manga character at the time. Alright, let's go with some questions. Alright, you at the back there.
Yeah, doesn't this manga have a lot of badly aged things?
Yeah, quite a lot. Let's get to it. So, this manga has a lot of problematic stuff. A lot of instances of blackface and too much of a fixation on making characters wear really tribal looking outfits, really stereotypical type of stuff. But finding animes that didn't do this kind of thing in the 80s is annoyingly rare. I mean, how did Dragon Ball get away with this? Like, I won't sugarcoat it. This manga and anime has some horribly aged things, like anything that came out at that time. So acting like it's not here would be a little bit of a disservice. So just keep in mind that while there's a lot of progressive stuff in Stop Hibari-Kun, there's a lot of that. And that stops me from recommending it to people. So let's bring the mood back with something that's kind of really cool about the story. Because it was made in the 80s, obviously a lot of the pop culture references in it are well of the era, right? It's actually really cool that there's stuff like Star Wars reference, because that was a pretty new movie at the time, right? I hope you like Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and Godzilla, because there's a lot of references of that in this. So Stop Hibari-Kun was actually localized in English officially in 2024, not the 80s. In this version, Hibari-Kun is given she/her pronouns, so technically in the English version, that's canon. As you might know, first-person pronouns don't really exist in Japanese the way they do in English, so every time literally any piece of fiction with a gender non-conforming character is brought into English, the translator has to sit at that desk and make a decision. And that decision will determine what everyone will say about them on Twitter. There's a decent amount of videos from Japanese fans voicing concerns this translation isn't faithful. However, there are examples of trans women in Japan viewing Hibari as inspiring and leading to their own transition. The writer of this blog makes the point that Eguchi seems to have empathy towards LGBT people, enough to let Hibari be her own person and have agency, right? The manga is quite old, so terminology used for Hibari, such as okama, were used because, well, transgender wasn't really in people's vocab at the time, right? So it makes sense that the manga would use stuff like okama, nyuhafu, that kind of thing. Interestingly enough, Hibari's speech patterns overall are pretty hegemonically feminine. They don't really make her use stereotypical masked speech as much as similar characters within that trope, right? But she does use boku at the start of a sentence, but just for clarity, I'll highlight cis women use boku. However, in this specific manga's case, I believe boku is used here just to indicate the whole being assigned male at birth thing. Like, I think that was an intentional choice in this case. I've seen some manga where I think it's unrelated. In this particular case, I get the vibe it was very intentional. So just know this isn't like a Japan thinks this, the West thinks that. It doesn't really work like that. However, you can see how Hibari was really inspiring for trans women at the time. She dressed cool, she was self-advocating, she was brave, confident, and was really unapologetically herself. And that's cool. I'll also highlight this one quote that's kind of used out of context in a lot of different videos about Stop Hibari-Kun. I don't really want to speculate on the gender of a real person, right? Like, that doesn't feel right. However, just know that this quote exists. The author has said this. I don't think calling a random person an egg is very mature. So I encourage you not to. If I was in the role of translating any piece of work and I had to decide whether a gender non-conforming character should have she, her pronouns or not, my main criteria is, do they explicitly say they're a girl? Do they like being a girl? That's really it. That's all I really look at. And in this case, Hibari seems pretty happy with it and explicitly mentions it. So, hence the she, her in this video. You see, manga's actually not too fussed about labels. I think this is part of why so much art from Japan is praised within the LGBT community. The focus isn't on Hibari being trans or a crossdresser, new half, wakama, whatever. It's more on who Hibari is as an individual, what she wants, who she is, and more. This allowed Hibari to be subversive and revolutionary in popular culture in so many areas. I think what makes me like this character so much: confidence. And a willingness to be unapologetically yourself, no matter what people think of you. No matter how many times someone says to Hibari that they're a man, she just goes, but I'm cute. Who cares? I'm chillin'. I love it. It's what I aspire to be. That unapologetic confidence and the ability to carry on and live life to the fullest regardless of what people say about you. That makes Hibari really cool. I don't have as thick of skin as Hibari does. However, seeing Hibari be herself gives me confidence and inspires me to, well, become more brave, to be more myself. regardless of what people think. What does that mean for my own gender? I don't think I care anymore. I think what I care about is just dressing how I want, talking how I want, and doing what I want, right? And that's inspiring. Do I recommend you watch or read Stop Hibari-Kun? Kinda. It depends on your own tolerance for older media and things that have aged horrible, right? It's your ability to ignore all this stuff so you can get all the good, right? But if you can get past it, I hope Hibari inspires you to be confident and unapologetically yourself. Remember, drip is for everyone. Stay hydrated and know that you are valid.